Hey everybody, it's Jen Bovey. Happy Monday to you. Give me a second. I need to get my screen on behind my phone so that I can actually pay attention to the comments. It's raining here and it was very cold all weekend, so I'm in some desperate need of some vitamin D and some sunlight and some warmth. I hope you all had a pleasant weekend. I want to talk to you today about money. And I recognize the resistance that many people feel and experience when we start talking about money. But money is just like everything else. And so I just want to talk to you about your money story and your experiences with money and why my computer just can't participate in life today. I'm literally just trying to open a document in Facebook and it's just not participating. So we'll just have to hope nobody shows up today, I guess. So the way your money story is created is, and I need to give you a little bit of background about how the subconscious mind works, is that your subconscious mind is formed prior to puberty. So all of those experiences, all of those interactions, all of those messages that you received as a child prior to puberty program your subconscious mind. And those subconscious mind programs run automatically all day long. They're extremely powerful. And so when I looked at my own money story, it was very apparent to me that I had inadvertently absorbed some of my parents' garbage about money. A little history is when I was, I don't even know how young, I was really young. My dad tried to have a mechanic's garage, and he's a good mechanic. He was a good mechanic. He died since. He filed for bankruptcy because he just refused to have the conversation with people about money. So tons of people owed him money, and rather than just having a conversation with them, he grew resentful and had to close his business and subsequently had to file bankruptcy. So fast forward massively in my life, and in 2007 I filed bankruptcy. I was just swimming in medical debt and I couldn't keep my head above water, and I couldn't rub 2 pennies together and come up with 1 cent. Every time I went to the mailbox, there was more bills there. There was more debt there. I swear I was paying off everybody else's debt as well as my own because it just was that overwhelming. And so I watched a movie called The Secret, and I started getting into the law of attraction, and I started really understanding what is happening with my money story and with my financial experiences. And as I did that, everything began to change. And obviously it didn't change overnight, but there were small hints that I was on the right path. So I began to reinforce that money comes to me easily. People love to pay me. I make money while I sleep. And some of these are going to sound absolutely absurd and ridiculous to you, but it was really fun for me. And so because it was fun, I was more invested in doing it. It became easier to do, and eventually it started to pay off. And so I had been doing this maybe 6 or 8 months. I also listened to T. Harv Ecker's audio program on the Millionaire Money Mind or something like that. Okay, my computer's just not participating. And so in that, I began to understand a lot more about how the subconscious mind is programmed financially, started delving into understanding the subconscious mind. And probably 3 or 4 months into, and I used to like, one of my go-tos whenever I'm feeling any amount of financial stress, and this will crack you up, is as I drive through Starbucks, because I maintain that I'm going to get the Starbucks, even though it's $3.56, and I could save that money and blah, blah, blah. I go through Starbucks, and as I pay for the person behind me, because that reinforces to my subconscious mind that I'm so wealthy that I can pay for the car behind me without blinking an eye. And so as I swipe my debit card various places, I always reinforce whatever I swipe, whatever I pay out comes back to me tenfold. And I pay all of my bills, or I attempt to pay all of my bills. I'm not necessarily a pro at this sometimes, but I attempt to pay all my bills with gratitude, because what happens is when I express gratitude for having the money to pay them, for being able to pay them, they're more easily managed. I'm more easily able to pay them. And so using gratitude and swiping my card. The other thing that I had read in this law of attraction journal once, and I don't even know where the journal came from. I've not seen it since, so it was totally a divine timing thing, was to go into a store, get $20 worth of ones, go into a store, and strategically place those ones throughout the store. And I used to love to do this at Home Depot or Menards or Lowe's or whatever kind of home repair store you have around you. And I loved to do this there because typically when people are there, they're really stressed and they're really grumpy, right? And so I would just and I had a really hard time just keeping it to $20. Like, I was like, this is so fun. Can we do more? My husband would be like, because at that time we were kind of financially struggling. He's like, no, we can't do more. This is all we can afford. And I'm like, but please, it's so fun. And so I would just leave the dollars sticking out between a couple cans of paint or a couple paint brushes or a couple boxes of nails or whatever, and it just brought me so much joy to participate in that and watch people come in and pick up the dollar and just watch it change their vibration and change their day. And I began to have more and more positive experiences surrounding money. So a bit about me that you may not know is back in 2005, I purchased my own home. It was a hot mess. It was a disaster. It was a mistake from go. But I didn't know what I know now about houses, about home repair, about taxes. I didn't know any of this stuff. And so when the bank told me, yeah, you can afford this house, I'm like, okay, great. I didn't realize I needed to run the numbers on myself. And so I bought the house and I moved into the house. And then I loved the house in the beginning. And then the house flooded in the basement and I loved it much less. And then the stress of not being able to pay this house payment got to me. And then there were these taxes that weren't a part of my payment that I guess they thought I should just cut my hair and sell it to be able to afford. It was stressing me out. And so I would regularly call the mortgage company. I'd be like, is there anything I can do to lower my payments? Is there anything I can do? I just can't handle this house anymore. And their answer was always the same. Nope, sorry, you're locked in. Nope, sorry, you're locked in. So I eventually walked away from the house because I just couldn't handle it anymore. And I needed out. And so when I filed bankruptcy, I filed the house as a part of the bankruptcy process. So a few months into applying some of these law of attraction principles to my money story, and I received an $836 check in the mail. And I was like, and it was funny because as I opened the envelope, I almost didn't even like open the mail. I thought it was junk mail, and I'm like, Literally, this was my thought process. Psst, this is just a bunch of junk. Throw it away. I don't even have time to open it. So I carried this piece of mail around with me for weeks. And then finally I was going through my mail and I'm like, well, what have I got to lose? I'll just open it. It'll be fine. And I opened it and it was a check for $836. And at that point in my life, that was a lot of money. It still is a lot of money to me. And as I read the letter, they said, well, this is part of the settlement because the mortgage people weren't willing to work with you and countless others. And so here, have this check. It's a one-time check. Don't ever expect any more money. Have a great day. And I'm like, woohoo, love free money, right? So I quickly took it to the bank, deposited it, and moved on with my life. And then I started learning principles about deeper law of attraction stuff, like focusing on the money that I bring in, focusing on the income. And I started regularly writing down what money's brought to me, whether that's I win a free course, a free workshop, whether that's the car in front of me buys me Starbucks, whether that's somebody pays me for this air conditioner that I used to have that I was trying to sell, whether that's actual money that I earned. I write down every single penny that comes into my existence. And by doing that, it focuses on the money, and I express and experience gratitude over being able to make money. And what I've noticed is, and I've been doing this for about a year now, or maybe longer, is that as I focus on the money that I'm bringing in, the money grows every month. And it's not this silly magical thing, it's just something that I've experienced that works. And so, because I'm human, and despite the fact that this really works well for me, I occasionally just randomly stop doing that, right? Isn't that what we all do? We stop taking vitamins, we stop taking supplements, we stop meditating, we stop prioritizing sleep. We just stop doing the things that we need to do. And so I had been to a conference, and it was a really intense, really deep healing work conference. And when I got back, I just kind of got out of the habit. And then all of a sudden I started to struggle with money again. And I was like, what is even going on? Like, I don't even understand. And then I was on this call with these other people, and this amazing person said, hey, Jen, I'm not sure if you're on the call, but if you're listening to the recording, I wanted to make sure that you're still tracking your income because I started that when you did, and it's amazing, and it's so fun. And I'm like, crap, right? And so I quickly got back to that. And every single time I go back to that premise in my life, my income grows. My ability to be comfortable with money grows. I had to do a lot of work around some of those old programming things like money is the root of all evil. Only rich people have this. greedy people have this, rich people have it easy, rich people cheat. All of those crappy stories I told myself, that the examples that were set down for me, all that stuff, I had to heal all of that, and I had to forgive myself for holding on to those beliefs. And as such, I am now able to financially support myself. My husband and I were just having a conversation about this yesterday, and I told him I didn't need him financially, and I think that was a bit of a blow to his ego, but it felt amazing for me. And I said, I still want you, and I still want to be a part of your life, but I don't need you anymore. I can take care of myself now. And it felt so freeing and amazing to say that. So some of the things that I do on a daily basis are, the other experience that I had recently, and I posted this in my Inspired Empath group, is, do you believe that budgeting lowers your vibration? And the reason I ask that is because I had this experience where I was resistant to budgeting, just because my experience with budgeting means I'm going to have to go without some stuff. And I want to pay my $3.56 for Starbucks, damn it. It's mine. I can if I want to. And my husband had never said I couldn't. That was the thing. And so I did a lot of internal work, and I came back to him. I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Let's start budgeting. Let's look at where we're spending our money, where we need to be spending our money, where we need to tighten things up. And it was a pleasant conversation. It was a great experience. I had motivation. I had focus. We were ready to go. Let's do this. And then my client started rescheduling their appointments, and I had 3 no-shows in one day. I don't ever have no-shows. I have an automatic reminder that reminds people. So I'm just like, what is even happening? And I went into my husband's office, and I'm like, so I'm not sure what kind of monster we unleashed, but this is not okay. And it was funny because he was experiencing similar things. And so we've talked about this again recently. We talked about it again this weekend. And he started to use the budgeting word. And I'm like, nope, we're not using that word. We can use money management. That has a higher feel for me. But budgeting is tied to so much garbage for me in my life, and so much kind of trauma things, that I just am not even willing to have those conversations anymore. So what I do is I focus on the money coming in, and I set a little bit of a higher goal the next month and the next month and the next month. And do I meet my goals every month? Well, I have this year. But historically, no. And do I beat myself up about that? No. Because I still have money coming in. So it's still a huge source of gratitude for me. If you've ever read the book Think and Grow Rich by Pam Grouch, she talks a lot about using the power of gratitude. And so one of the things that I've made a habit of doing is, as I'm tracking my money coming in, I'm just expressing and experiencing gratitude over it. I'm just like, ooh, thank you for this $20. Thanks for this $10. Thank you for this $5. I love money. Bring it more. And what has happened as a result of that is I have very little debt today. Of course, I have a car payment and a house payment. And we have one joint credit card, but that's it. I don't have a lot of external debt, which is a huge, amazing, and freeing feeling, right? And so I just want you guys to take some time and think about your money stories and think about your experiences with money, because what happens is those stories become so ingrained in us, and we repeat them and repeat them and repeat them over and over again, that we just can't even notice them. It was natural for me in the past to say things like, well, I don't manage my money well. Or whenever I have money, I just spend it instantly, which is not true. I don't spend my money instantly. I don't spend my money foolishly. I don't spend my money unwisely. And so I really had to police my thoughts and look at what I was reinforcing and what I wanted, and make sure that I was reinforcing what I wanted, and that I was reinforcing what I wanted to create. Because I believe that we create this reality that we're in, and if we create it, then we're in control of it. So I hope this was helpful for you. I feel like I rambled on forever. If you have any questions about money, about the subconscious mind, about money manifesting, or anything else, feel free to pop it in the questions below, and as I'm on and off the rest of the day, I'll just hop in and I'll answer those, all right? Thanks so much for joining me, and have a great day. Bye.